Hey, welcome to the Tim and Gugabe podcast. This is your host, Tim. Gugabe, you buzzed your head, didn't you?
Yep, time to
Nice.
give it a try.
Yeah,
Back in prison. Both Tim and I are both in disembodied voids, so that's where we are this week.
yeah, we look ridiculous right now. Um, yeah, but all right, we've had a couple weeks off. We can talk about Vera Sandhagen. I picked Sandhagen to win. I thought Vera was live. I think Sandhagen covered his line because of the grappling upside. It's still a weird fight though, because like other than the first two rounds where he got grappling going, the striking was kind of like like the later rounds were competitive, but I also like thought Sandhagen probably took 3 or 4 of them, but yeah, like I think Sandhagen probably covered his line, but it was like he's a smart fighter.
Yeah, when he grappled, it was like borderline 10-8, and
Yeah.
it was kind of weird how he just still stopped. Like he still went for the occasional takedown attempt later on, but he didn't really seem to give the
He built
same.
a lead where I think he kind of was like, I don't even need to like exert energy anymore. I can just kind of dance around. I thought that's kind of what he was doing.
Yeah, but I still think, he was so safe on top. It's just like, why the fuck, I
Yeah.
would rather be on top of Marlon Vera than kickboxing with Marlon Vera, because I feel like your
He was
chances of
probably
topping
worried about. Well, he did go for some, and I think he was worried about tiring himself out.
yeah.
Honestly, he's like that could happen, but I don't know. No, I thought he looked good, and like I always worried about Vera whenever he was going against someone he couldn't tire out because Sandhagen does have good cardio, and that kind of happened. It's like there was never a pivot of Vera just having a guy who was a dead body, because like Sandhagen kind of fight for a while, but um,
Vera's
um,
always been weird because it's always been built on this sort of magical wizard status, and
yeah.
he's just not very good at MMA. Remember how we had Ray Borg? Then we had like Ray Borg against him at one point, like plus 250 or some shit. It was booked like early COVID, didn't actually happen, but like that was probably one of the all-time stupid lines. Was that for
Yeah,
Ray Borg or was it Simon?
I don't totally remember, but it might have happened.
We had Dog Borg, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Um, okay. Then the co-main event, I played Holm at like minus 210. She covered her line. There was always like a risk of her looking old, but I was like, she was already fighting well at 40. I was like, if she's 40, I'm sure she's. And Kunitskaya was just like, it was a bad style matchup for Kunitskaya. It's
Yeah.
like nothing she doesn't do anything better than Holm. And I do really like this kind of Glover Teixeira thing Holm's doing, where she's kind of becoming a grappler because she's so physically strong at the end of her career. Because Glover used to strike, and then he started grappling a lot towards the end. And I like that Holmes mixed that in her game. It's just like she's not even a good grappler. She just is like really strong in the clinch. She can throw you down, and then she's physical. And all these other girls just aren't that good. But I thought she was going to land takedowns here. I thought she was better in the clinch and at range. Obviously, I would have played more if I knew it was going to be like that. I mean, she looked minus 900. Like she dominated the fight, and it looked like a low variance fight. It's not like Kunitskaya is a finisher. So yeah, I was happy with that, but I don't know. We can go on a UFC 287.
It was a little bit funny because like the first like 2 minutes, Kunitskaya came out, was cage pushing her, and I was like, oh shit, is Holm old? And then Holm just goes like, fuck you, this is not happening, just annihilates her.
Yeah, yeah. Because I saw
Honestly,
that
like,
Kunitskaya kind of does like. I feel like she kind of like wilts a little bit, where Holm doesn't. Like Holm can fight hard, and like Holm's cardio is really underrated, very very underrated. She's fought hard 5 rounds. Like her cardio is kind of insane considering how physical and old she is. Like because she uses like a lot of strength based shit, and she doesn't get tired ever.
It's funny because like she came across as the elite boxer and her striking is fucking ass, and now she's
it's not
just
that good anymore. Yeah, yeah.
well, never was that good.
Yeah, it really wasn't. It was like okay. I mean, it was fine, but it wasn't like you wouldn't look at her and think she was like a top. I mean, she was in the Ring magazine, I think top 10 women's boxers ever, and I'm like, what? Like, I mean, maybe she was. I don't know enough about women's boxing, but agreed. I don't like look at her MMA. Like even Pennington, she wanted to clinch up against. She didn't even want to box with Pennington.
Did she get like to the split decision with fucking Mauro Manoa or some shit like back in the day? Also,
She
Lambo
had a
sub.
close fight with Pennington in her first fight, and it was a card of Zingano Rousey, and then I think she fought Marion Renault too, and I think it was like a more competitive than you would think. Yeah. But all right, let's get into it. Let's talk about UFC 287. Pereira and Adesanya. Fun card, a lot of good fights. Like it's a good card to come back to. What do you think of the main event, Pereira and Adesanya?
I mean, I think we've got a fairly big sample of Israel being minus 200. I'm not going to go ballistic on it, but like I'm happy to go like a unit on Israel minus 125 because it's just like I just feel like Israel has looked like the firm favorite the last 2 times it's happened, and yeah, he has lost, but like it does happen, and yeah, why not? I'm happy to get on the minus 125 or whatever to win a unit. I just feel like it's pretty clear side, and like even the grappling thing that does happen, it's like but the issue is Israel did look a little bit flat last time. They both looked a bit shit. But I just think that people just have all these bizarre. Like my concern here is you get this sort of Usman Edwards free kind of situation where it's like people have these bizarre takes about how Edwards was secretly doing well, and then Israel's just gone this time. Like he just athletically goes, but like Israel looked medium favorite to me last time.
Yeah, I kind of have a little bit of a different view than you. Like I think it's close, like for sure. You know, like obviously Izzy was literally minus like 1100 in round 5, so like he could easily win this fight. But I get it because people keep calling him the minute winner, right? Like they're like, oh, Izzy's a minute winner, but they're only saying that because he was up on the scorecards. And like if you actually look at the fight, like he was up 3 rounds to 1, but he stole the first round because of a random like near knockout, which I mean, credit to him that he took the round. But I'm saying if that doesn't happen, it's 2-2, and then Pereira was winning round 5. So I'm just saying like that knockdown doesn't happen. Like I'm not buying Izzy being the minute winner on the feet because Pereira also outlanded him in total strikes by 20. So like if you with the way the fight played out, fine, but like strike wise, that's kind of what I look at for minute winning. I thought Pereira looked more dangerous on the field. Either of them can knock each other out. I do think Pereira is more likely to win by KO just in general. I think he's a little more dangerous and whatnot. And I feel like when they were actually at range, I just felt like Izzy kind of just looked scared and shit at times. He was clinching up against the cage and he got the grappling going, but I'm just not buying him going out there and grappling. Like he got it off like an upper body takedown, and Pereira, like a Malkoon who would change levels below the hips and shit, I think would take down Pereira and make him look like an idiot. But like, I'm not buying Izzy just being some offensive grappling wizard out there going out there this time. Like, I think it's going to be on the feet again. And like, I kind of lean Pereira, honestly. So I don't know. Like Izzy could still knock him out. Izzy could win rounds. Like he almost won a decision the first time. He almost knocked him out that time. But I personally don't like laying the juice on Izzy here. I think it's just a close fight. I pick Pereira by knockout again. I kind of like Pereira by KO plus 220 more than anything else on the card, just because like I don't have strong opinions really on who's going to win, but I feel like that's such a likely outcome, and I feel like when Pereira wins, it's generally going to be by that. And I also just don't like that Izzy just got knocked out. It wasn't a brutal knockout because it was a good stoppage, but it was just kind of like, and I don't know. I just felt like Izzy just seemed so much more in danger, other than the one time he landed at the end of round 1. And it's funny because I liked Izzy before that fight. I think I picked him to win, and even during the fight, I was kind of like, oh, he was the value side. But then when I rewatched it, I was like, fuck, man, I don't know. Pereira was winning round 1 until that, so it could have been close. But do you kind of see where I'm coming from?
Yeah, I get your logic. I mean, they both essentially got knockout on each other, so I'm kind of like...
True, yeah.
If Israel gets that slightly, 15 seconds earlier, that's finished.
And 100%, like you can go both ways. It's like, if that didn't happen, then Pereira could have won that round. But I'm talking about minute winning. Like he was winning the minutes until of that round until that. But agreed, you could also like even in their kickboxing fights, it's like Pereira would have been knocked out in one of their fights if they didn't have a standing 8 count. Like Izzy would have just jumped on him and probably finished him. So it's like, and striking's weird, like striking's really weird. Like if Pereira, it's funny because if Pereira knocked Izzy out in like round 1, and then like if you could kind of like reverse it where like Izzy was doing the minute winning and we like knew that he generally would win the minutes, but he happened to get knocked out earlier, Pereira would be like maybe a minus 150 favorite here, but because it was late, it's like, I don't know. Striking's weird. I don't like striking fights, 5-round strike. They're hard to predict for me, and I could see either guy winning here. I picked Pereira though.
With the striking numbers, Pereira like opened up his entire lead in round 5 in the flurry.
Yeah, total strikes were a little different, and it was also like Izzy had like what I don't like is Pereira. I forget the exact numbers. He landed 19 strikes, I remember, in round 3. All the other ones he was averaging about 30. So it was just a lot of consistency. And then in round 3, I think that was the grappling round, or one of them was. So
Round 3.
I'm just saying, I just feel like he was consistently landing, and I feel like he hits harder. I feel like he's just more dangerous, and I generally think it's going to play out on the feet. So I'm going to pick him to win. But and also just the fact he's won like 3 competitions against him. I'm not really a narrative guy, but I feel like that can't hurt, you know?
Yeah.
But it's close. Like I think Pereira KO, like it's a big plus number. Like, my confidence going to hit? Not really, but 5 rounds. I feel like it's just going to be, he's always aggressive. Like, Pereira brings it, and I feel like he's generally going to win fights by knockout when he wins them. So yeah.
Makes sense.
Co-main event, Masvidal Burns. I think this line's insane, personally. Like, I'm not saying, like, honestly, like, I picked Burns to win. But his inside the distance line is -110, which makes 0 sense to me. Like, zero. Masvidal's been
justified money line. I think it kind of should be there, if you get what I mean, but I don't think it should be there.
And that's why I think the money line's off. Like, I think his decision, like, if you want to play Burns, play him by decision. Like, Masvidal's tough as shit, man. Like, he's had 51 pro fights. He's been subbed 1 time in 2009 versus Toby Amata, an inverted triangle. He survived Maya on his back, like, easily. He even put Maya in like a dar. So he's an underrated submission grappler from a defensive point of view, Masvidal. And I also think, like, he's only been knocked out 1 time. And like Burns has been flatlined in the UFC more than Masvidal. And Masvidal's competition has been better generally. Like, I mean, Burns has obviously fought great guys too, but I don't know. It's just like, I feel I like not Burns inside the distance at like -120. I just feel like Jorge is a really terrible guy. And I feel like he's being hilariously overlooked here. It's just like, he just fought Covington and Usman, who are going to attempt 15 to 20 takedowns in a fight. Burns doesn't do that. Like, he shoots like 4 or 5. I'm getting made fun of here. But like, again, I picked Burns to win, but -4 to 500, it's like Masvidal is arguably a better striker. I do think Burns could still win on the feet and compete, but like, Masvidal's probably more durable, wouldn't you say, like, overall? And his striking numbers are better. He does look declined. Like, if this is prime Masvidal, I would pick him straight for sure.
Yeah, right.
For sure. I don't think Burns is easily gonna like land. I don't think he's easily gonna sub Masvidal either. Like, I don't think he's just gonna take him down and that's gonna be it. I don't think he's gonna take him down and he's easily gonna control him. I think Masvidal's takedown defense is good enough to where they'll be on the feet a little bit. And I feel like it'll probably be competitive. I'm expecting like a spot takedown here and there for Burns, which might swing him the fight. So I picked him to win by decision. But on the feet, like, Masvidal is still pretty good. I don't know. So yeah, like, again, I think Burns is gonna win, but -4 to 500 is just way too wide.
Yeah, I pretty much agree. Like, I think Burns is just the guy who caps at like -200. Just, he's fragile, he's gassy. He doesn't always. He has like good fight IQ, but also does some dumb shit. Okay, he knows what he's trying to do.
Yeah,
but he's also dangerous enough everywhere. He can just kind of have these moments of, I'm going to mash my B+ into their A+ kind of thing, rather than just, I need to constantly attack the things that they're shit at. Yeah, it feels weird to me because I feel like if I was expecting Burns to cover the money line, I'd essentially need to play a sub. Just, I feel like he can't cover -500 without subbing him. Kind of, I'm not saying he will, but just, my sort of view of just like risk reward and the sort of thing where just like, I feel like -500 just needs to be less.
Look at who Burns has subbed in the UFC. Like, go back. There's like 4 guys. It's like dudes I've never heard of, and like Neil Magny. Like, Jorge Masvidal is going to be really, really hard to sub. I
agree, but I'm just saying, but if he's going to cover that massive money line, it's probably going to be predicated on him just grapple fighting him.
Agreed. And I just like don't think that's that likely. So I don't think he'll cover the money line. Like, I think the inside the distance is just being too much. Like, I think if you want to play Burns, I think playing by decision. I think that's +1, and usually we are people like we said play Burns by sub against Magny, but it's the same number against Masvidal as it was against Magny. Like,
I mean, it's a little bit
I
tricky.
remember when Maya was trying to sub Masvidal after the fight, he was one of the best like submission defense guys I've ever rolled with. Maya said that. Like, do you remember? Like, he had him backpacked, and Masvidal was like smiling and totally fine. Like, Masvidal is a really like, he comes from like a street fighting background, but he's really skilled in all areas. Like, he's a very skilled fighter.
Yeah, I probably go like again. And also my view of if this fight's still going after 5 minutes, probably like bet Masvidal just because I feel like Burns has had such cardio issues historically, and like it's just like why the fuck you laying minus 500 on a guy who is gassy and fragile? Like,
for sure.
I love Burns, but he is gassy and fragile. This is what he is.
I like Burns too. I played him against Gunner. I played him against Maya. Like, I like him. I just don't think he's minus 500 against Masvidal. Like, the thing is, like,
500 against many welterweights. I just don't think he is.
I played Usman versus Masvidal in both fights. I played Masvidal versus Till. We both did, remember? Yeah. Like that back in the day. He was a huge underdog. I don't know, like, if my life is on the line, I'm picking Burns to win. I definitely think Masvidal has declined for sure, but it's just like he was just getting gas pedaled by guys, and Burns doesn't really do it. Like, Colby and Usman just gas pedaled him, and it is what it is. Like, he's looked fine in previous fights before that. So yeah, if he just looks old, that's definitely a part of the pie, and Burns could just like destroy him. But yeah, I don't know.
Burns Burns himself. So Burns been around for quite a while. He's had like a full submission grappling career. He's 30.
He's pretty young. Oh, he's 36 for some reason. I thought he was like older.
He just doesn't look very old, but he's 36. Yeah. He's been some wars, and it's like it is possible Burns just isn't the guy anymore. Yeah, because Burns is only 2 years younger than Masvidal.
Burns has looked okay, but again, like, we saw him kind of in a war versus Kamaev, and then he just like grapple. He jiu-jitsu Tuesday night jiu-jitsu'd Neil Magny. Like, he wasn't in like a fight. It was just like he got a sub. He didn't like. What happens if he gets put through adversity a little bit? Like, I don't know. Usman hurt him really bad. Kamaev hurt him really bad. Like, Masvidal could easily hurt him here.
It's weird, like how long it's been since Masvidal really had like a real fight against somebody who was like not an elite welterweight.
Those three fights are the worst matchups in the division for him.
Yeah, like Masvidal Till and it's been like the Masvidal Till, Masvidal Wonder Boy. He really had a fight which went 15, which went deep, reasonably deep, and was like just wasn't him being gas pedals kind of thing. Because like Nate Diaz, who cares? Nate Diaz sucks. Yeah, he minus 10,000 Askren, as we all agree. There was no way Askren ever.
He minus 10,000 Diaz too. I know that doesn't like matter, but
it's Nate Diaz, who cares? But and Usman the first time he kept him off pretty well, and the second time he gets knocked out, so whatever. And Colby
he was doing okay in like the first rounds of both fights, and then and I played Usman in those fights. Like, I remember even in the second fight, like, Usman knocked him out, and I was like, and like people were messaging me like, "Oh, thanks for the tip on Usman." I'm like, I mean, it was kind of close until that point, and Masvidal was up on strikes, and then he got knocked out. So yeah, but I don't know, I think Burns will probably win. I don't think he's a good bet. I like not Burns ITD. Like, it's almost a coin flip. Minus 115, minus 120. That's what I like, because Masvidal's a really durable guy, But yeah. Font and Yanez. What do you think here?
Font should have been a win by massive margin. It's just kind of annoying because Font's last two fights have been so fucking stupid. And it's weird because like both fights, like people acting like Font was like super fragile in them, but I feel like in both fights, like one knockdown kind of just compromised him for rest. Because like the Aldo one, it was like the first knockdown killed his orbital and a bunch of other shit, and like he couldn't take a punch from then on. And like Vera was like landing like head kicks and shit like that. That wasn't like Vera was just like getting the jab knockdowns. So like I feel like Font kind of has to be the side money line, but it's like kind of like, well, Yanez win equity is very tight and will count a knockout at some point, and like if it does happen, people are gonna be like, minus 500 kind of thing. But it's like Yanez is gonna win minutes, and like Font has a grappling edge, so it's like at bantamweight, can you really back a knockout at minus 200 odd?
Yeah, like I I picked Font, but I think clearly Yanez could hurt him. Like it doesn't look good that like Font got badly hurt like 7 times in his last 10 rounds, So obviously it could happen, but he still didn't get knocked out, and like his metrics are really good. And like, dude, that Randy Costa fight with Yanez, like the straight punches he kept getting hit with, like Font's gonna land here for sure.
Yeah.
Like Font is incredible at landing strikes. Like he's gonna land, and this is a big step, dude. Yanez barely got by Davy Grant. If Font's durability holds up, I think he wins fine, honestly. But I'm worried he gets knocked out for sure. Like if the durability was equal here, like I would put Font minus 200. Yep. But are you good?
Yeah, fine.
Okay. Yeah, but I picked Font to win. I think it should be more close to like even. But it's a classic like volume versus durability. If Font's chin survives, I think he'll be fine. But it may not. So it just is what it is. I still think Yanez is probably a bit overrated. Like his competition hasn't been good. It's like Tony Kelly, Randy Costa. Costa was beating the shit out of him. And then Davy Grant was like a really, really competitive fight. And Font, he got landed on 100 significant strikes. Like Font's going to probably break 100 significant strikes if this goes 3 rounds. Wouldn't you agree? Like Font is a volume king. He lands like over 5 significant strikes a minute. And I just don't like that he was getting hit with all those straight punches against Costa. Like Font's jab is really good. So yeah, I understand the Font love. I still hate these like high volatility striking fights. Are there any props in this fight you like?
Yanez seems ridiculously durable, so but like there is a temptation to go with the Yanez, Font ITD because just like Font is going to land a lot, and Font is historically dangerous. Like Font sort of stuff's not bad. Again, I feel like you just take Font to win kind of thing. Like again, like I'd rather be on the under or the ITD than Yanez. I just don't see Yanez winning the decision any real equity.
Yeah. I agree. It's just like I just don't like picking my I don't like to play a minus 190 when I feel like if it goes to the decision, I wouldn't pick him to win. Like,
yeah. I agree. Particularly at bantamweight. Like, it's one thing if it's like heavyweight or some shit where it's like, all right, people die, but like, it's bantamweight.
What is scorecards only? Is that like a bet you can get on an ebook? Like, because if
DraftKings has it, nobody over here, but I know DraftKings. I think occasionally used to bet in the DraftKings, so it would be about the same as money line. So imagine Font would probably be like plus 140.
Of scorecards only, but like something. I just want to get the finishing out of the equation. Like even if Font knocked him out, I want to be on the Font side and get the finishing out of the even if Font knocked him out, I'd be like, whatever. I missed out on like a win, but I don't care because I just am afraid of his own chin. But I'm trying to look for it. DraftKings, you said?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm like trying to look, but I don't know. Are there any other prop bets you like on the first 2 fights we talked about, or no?
Not really. Again, I do think Burns. It's a question how you play Burns, Masvidal. Like Masvidal KO, like it's like massive numbers in my opinion, but like nothing huge.
It's minus 115. It's dead even. Like I like Font there for sure.
Yeah.
Like if it goes to the scorecards, I just feel like Font's gonna probably outland him by 30, 50 strikes. Like I would like, and he's got a little grappling upside. Like Font is kind of under. He's kind of like a Sandhagen. He doesn't like look like a grappler, like whenever he's actually doing it, but it kind of just happens. Like he's effective with it. So yeah,
it's funny because like he dominates when he's better than another guy, but like he's had a few performances where he just got dominated by like elite grapplers.
Yeah,
like people forget Yanez did lose a decision to fucking Miles Jones.
Yeah,
he can get drawn into a fucking fuck all, nothing happens kind of a fight. Like I don't think he's bad. He's just had this kind of weird career where he's had these very sort of soft matchmaking so far in the UFC.
I kind of hope he knocks Font out and we get like a good line on O'Malley over him because I just feel like O'Malley would like light him up with that length and everything.
I feel like Font's probably the best like spot in terms of like name equity and being a dog kind of thing. I just feel like Malley would probably be a good spot, but I just thought Malley would probably be like minus 200 or some shit. I think Font's
he'd probably be like minus 170 or something. Yeah.
I just think Pon's a sweet spot for him.
It's just O'Malley's O'Malley's underrated durable. I've always said that about him. Like people were like questioning that because he got injured a couple times. Like he had like a lower extremity injury. It had nothing to do. Like he's a tough dude. He's like a tough, and he's really hard to hit too. So yeah.
I'm sure who they even book him with, because we're probably Yanez versus Yudong, the Simon winner maybe. But even then, I feel like you probably wouldn't get a great price.
Yeah,
that'd be a great fight though.
Holland and Ponzinibbio. I think the line is like probably like I pick Holland to win there. Ponzinibbio kind of looked like shit against Alex Moreno until he like knocked him out. Holland is still kind of an idiot and will just like he could gas himself out by going for an early finish. He could just like get up, he could fall over on his back. Ponzinibbio doesn't really grapple at all though, so I expect him to kind of be okay because like Holland, it's not like Holland has a game plan here because Ponzinibbio won't take top position or anything. Like Holland's just going to get a fight that he can win. But he's bigger. I think he's like more athletic, younger. He'll probably be fine. I trust his durability more, but it's still like a striking fight, and it's Kevin Holland.
I think I prefer Holland KO plus 200-ish over his money line. I just feel like Holland's winner. Just like, if Holland's going to win, it's probably going to be predicated. If Holland's going to look minus 300, it's probably predicated on Holland just athleting him and just hitting him a lot.
For sure.
Like, I can't see over a 15-minute kickboxing fight that Holland covers minus 300 without knockdowns kind of a situation. So, like, I'd rather take the big number for a little bit than the small number for a lot. I think that's the best way of playing that kind of fight.
Yeah.
Holland's decision only might be interesting. Again, it's a similar kind of price to money line, or like Holland's decision itself is like plus, it's decently big, but not hugely passionate. Got a little bit on it.
Yeah,
I think it goes 15. Holland just kind of competes.
Yeah, I don't have much to say there. I think Holland's your rightful favorite. It is what it is. Don't really like his money line. I agree. Like if you want him, KO probably the way to go.
Holland he's such an idiot in terms of minutes and that kind of stuff. But like Holland, I just feel like if he's going to look minus 300, he's going to need to knockdowns or just
even against Wonder Boy, he almost knocked out Wonder Boy like a couple times early. Like he will go for the kill too. Rosas Jr. and Christian Rodriguez. I know both guys. I haven't fully taped it. I played Rosas like it was the only Contender Series fight I played in the last 2 years. I taped him and liked his game. I played it. He was like minus 170 or something, and I played it. I picked him to beat Pereira and didn't play it or anything because I'm like, I think he looks like I think he like actually looks pretty good. I'm sure there's going to come a point where he'll kind of get shut down. But I haven't taken the fight. I remember Christian Rodriguez at least like surviving a bit against Pierce and it was like he had a good third round, right? Or something. Yeah. I still imagine he's going to get taken down and get his back taken and stuff here a little bit. So like, I'm going to pick Rosas to win, but I want to go tape it. Like these are fights. I have to watch the grappling exchanges play out. And then I have like sometimes strong opinions, but I'm leaning Rosas, but like, I haven't developed opinions strong enough yet. Do you have anything? Have you like taped or anything or kind of looked into it?
I feel pretty similar. Like I'd probably go like a unit, Rodriguez, maybe fish for live bet to add a bit more, just because I feel like Rosas can make some very dumb decisions. Like, he's got good grappling, but he also just doesn't really have strong MMA logic. It's weird because like I felt like Jay Perrin was a similar situation where it was like, Jay Perrin survived. What's his name? 15 MMA lab guy, bantamweight, fights the absolute softest people in the division forever for some reason.
Bautista?
Yeah, because like Perrin survived Bautista, and I was like, if he's survived Bautista, surely he can survive this human being, and he could not.
So, Bautista literally gets the softest competition ever. Like he got Sandhagen one time and got destroyed, and then just like never fought a good guy. You remember saying like, but most people probably don't remember that Sandhagen just like killed him.
Yeah, it was like 2 weeks ago or some shit. It was like
it was, yeah.
But like Bautista is weird because like it's like heavyweight. I understand because there's like 3 good guys, but like Bautista is fighting in arguably the deepest division in the UFC and just has this list of just absolute garbage.
Yeah,
like Kelleher's his best win, and he's had like 6 fights. Like I think Bautista.
That's like a fake good win because Kelleher just like isn't that great either.
He's better than like fucking Argentinian dude and all that sort of stuff. He's better than like Guido and like look at Bautista's record. Like Kelleher is still
Guido Canetti, Benito Lopez, Perrin, Jinsu Sun.
You saying Lopez? You saying Kelleher isn't tiers above everybody else there?
Yeah, He lost to Trevin Jones. I remember that. Bad loss right there, but yeah.
I mean, he just got Trevin Jones, and he was just kind of stupid.
Yeah, like I don't know. I still think like Rosa still hasn't fought that many good guys, and we still only got like 2 minutes of his first fight or however long that lasted. I remember when I was taping him, I liked his grap because people were. The reason I looked into the fight is people were messaging me and they're like, have you seen this like 17, 18-year-old? And they were like, I think I'm going to fade him. Like, I think he's being overhyped. And I taped and I was like, I was like, I'm going to bet him because I actually like him. They're like, really? And I'm like, yeah. And then he went out there and he won a decision that fight. I didn't watch the fight. I never even.
Fight.
Yeah, I never watched the fight and I didn't go back and watch because I pretty much heard what happened. It's just a bunch of back takes and whatnot. But
watch that fight because again, like you just said, like Rosa's first round he does a bunch of cool shit, then like second and third round he just keeps jumping guillotines, going for leg locks and that kind of. He just there was some very interesting decision making.
Yeah, that's everything. If there's anyone in the comments who wants like a prelim fight talked about, that's fine because we usually don't go deep into those, but we'll always like bring up one or two. Like, is there anyone you want to talk about, Gugabe?
I'm trying to think. I probably got my most actions on Shalian, Wordabang, Shay versus Garcia because that's the sort of shit I love. But
what do you also,
I think I took Garcia a bunch of the plus 200. I like the over a lot. I just don't see why Shalian ITD is plus 110. Like if under is his favorite, it should really be Garcia under. Like Garcia is far more like knock him out, and vice versa. And like the market is like looking at their recent records and going, Minute KO one, that's relevant. It's like that's literally a fixed fight. And then Garcia's finished fucking Hooper and Ontiveros, who are both like complete fucking memes. So I just don't think I just like why is this over? The GT is like plus 160. Like Shay is very tough. Garcia is very tough. If Shay is just like minus 190, he's going to do it via split decision. Just how Shay fights. I took over and Garcia.
I think there's a lot of live dogs on this card. Like there's a lot of fights. Like even that fight, I'm not confident he's going to win that fight at all. But I picked Garcia. Like I was fighting myself being like, I think this is a coin flip, and I would just like pick the dog because I was, But I legitimately feel like I could. I don't know. I've been doing good as far as like overall picks on cards lately. I've been averaging like pretty high, but I feel like I could easily go like 40% on this guy. Like I just feel like there's a lot of just like even Waterson Pinheiro. I think I picked Waterson there, and like and there's just a ton of them that are like moderate dogs who I'm like, it's kind of a coin flip. I guess I'll go with the dog.
Calvillo is a bit weird because like it depends how it's really a shotness moratorium for Calvillo. Like if you think Calvillo is still Calvillo, she should not be this big a dog.
I think that line's way too wide. I'm not confident he's going to win that fight either, like at all. Like even like Burns Masvidal, I think the line's too wide. I picked Burns to win that fight. Godinez Calvillo, like I think Calvillo is very live there. It's like what is Godinez like better at by a she's more physical and hits harder, but like I don't think she's a better submission grappler at all. And I think on the feet, it's like pretty. She hits a little harder, but like Calvillo isn't that bad of a striker. Like she's just facing a bunch of girls who are good. Like Chokagian would fucking light Godinez up on the feet. Let's be real. I just feel like Calvillo's had a lot of tough style matchups lately. It's just like simple as that. And so I think she's being like disrespected. Like I picked Hill as an upset against Godinez. Like I kind of was just like, I don't think Godinez is that good of a wrestler, and I don't trust her to win fights unless if she's landing takedowns type of deal. Like she's lost to Luana Carolina, Jessica Penne, and Angela Hill, and now she's minus 300 against Calvillo. It just doesn't make any sense. And I'm not even MMA mathing. Just even if you break down the styles, I think it's just a competitive fight. It's like Barber Lee. I think I picked Barber to win there, but I was like, this is probably a 50-50 fight. And ended up like I thought Lee won. Did you I thought it was close. I thought Lee won, but I think it's much more even than it is minus 300. And it's just kind of like I think that here too.
Yeah. Again, it's really just how Calvillo got this one for it. Yeah, if you think Calvillo's done, I guess. Yeah. But like
she could look terrible. She could look terrible,
Calvillo went 50-50 with Esparza. Like, she pretty much had a if Esparza and her pretty much had a full wrestling, scrambling, boxing kind of game, and she went 50-50 with her, which is a fucking, it's considering Esparza was like one. Esparza was.
Dude, Calvillo like almost beat Marina Rodriguez, and now she's like, it was a draw, right?
She beat Jessica Eye, and whatever you say about Jessica Eye, but she's like a top 5 fucking women's flyweight.
She's not. Yeah, she declined and stuff, but like still, that's what I'm saying. Like Calvillo, I just feel like Andrea Lee's hard to grapple, and she's a better striker than Calvillo. Jessica Andrade is one of the worst matchups in the division for Calvillo. And yeah, like all these girls, it's just like Godinez. I don't think she's gonna just go out there and easily, like, Calvillo's a good grappler. Like, I don't think that's gone away. That's the thing. Like, she's getting beat up on the feet mostly. Yeah. I don't think her grappling's gone away. I don't think Godinez, like, what's Godinez gonna do if she even gets a takedown? She can't, like, she's not a better submission grappler. And Angela Hill took Godinez's back too. And I'm just like, Calvillo can take your back. She has ways to win this fight.
It was weird how Godinez went for like 2 takedowns against Angela Hill. That was just like, I'm not saying that Angela Hill wasn't like the side, but like it just reminded me of like, sometimes you get these fights where like it's like
Jake Matthews Semmelsberger type of shit.
Or like Alan versus what was that fucking main Brazilian grappling dude? Yeah, exactly. Like Muniz went for 1 takedown. It's like, I'm not saying Alan wasn't the side anyway, but like Muniz didn't even try his thing.
Yeah.
You tell me Muniz is going to go 1 for 1 takedown. I go, well, no, shouldn't get a fucking bet against him because like that is his one thing he does well. Why is he not doing it?
Yeah.
So that's kind of my issue with Godinez fight. So some people on Hill were just like, best bet ever. I'm like, she only went for like 1 takedown for some reason. Like,
yeah, I do agree with that. I do think like I just like think Hill's defensive grappling was a little underrated going into the fight. Like I wrote it in my right. It didn't play out as much, but she did stop like a takedown or 2 that she did attempt. But I just really respect Vera Jandiroba's grappling. Like I don't think people realize how good she is as a grappler. I think who's her next fight?
She's booked.
She's booked. And I saw the line on Paramatch. I'm just higher on Jandiroba than most people. She's had a couple tough style matchups. It's Marina.
That's a fun fight. Marina is like, lose that under.
So Marina's like a decent sized favorite on Paramatch, and I don't agree with that. Like easily could, like, dude, Jandiroba can wrestle her ass off.
Yeah. Like, unless you think Marina's gonna knock her out, I don't think how you can justify minus whatever, because it's like, one fuck up could.
It was like minus 230 offshore, and I'm like, like Jandiroba has minus 300 upside in that fight.
Yeah, easily.
Yeah.
Jandy sub ends up being plus 900 or something. Take some of that.
I just feel like that's too wide of a line. Like, but I don't know. That's everything. I'm gonna finish my breakdowns on my site tomorrow. But you got anything else? You good?
So I've got the fight list, but I don't think anything May just popping into my mind. PFL's tomorrow, which will be a shit show.
It's kind of a week. It's like the women's division and heavyweight. It's like a terrible card.
How dare you?
Yeah. All right.
As somebody who spiritually identifies as a heavyweight and a women's heavyweight, like what the fuck?
All right. Well, we'll leave it on that note, and all right, we'll come back next week and we'll talk about Allen and Holloway. That would be a funny fight to break down. But all right, have a good one, and Gugabe, thanks for doing this.
Yep, gotcha.
Bye.